Bin Lin is the co-founder and president of a company called Xiaomi. And we've heard of a lot of Chinese phone makers, Huawei, ZTE, that are making their mark by going global and coming to the US at the low end of the market. What's fascinating about Xiaomi is they're a high-end phone maker in the Chinese market, and they're just blowing the roof off of it, selling devices aimed at the high end of the market. Bin Lin is a fabulous speaker. He has prior gigs at Microsoft and Google, and he's, together with his co-founder, built this incredible company that I'm looking forward to hearing more about. So ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Bin Lin. So welcome. A lot of folks have probably, as I mentioned, never heard of Xiaomi. Tell us a little bit about how you guys got started. You're fairly new. You've only been doing this a couple of years, selling millions of these phones. What's the premise behind the company?
The company started, officially was founded on the 6th of April, 2010. So we are exactly 3 years old, very young startup. I started the startup with another co-founder, Lei Jun. Lei Jun is a very famous angel investor in China. And a couple of months later, we found another co-founder, Dr. Zhou. Dr. Zhou used to work at Motorola for 15 years. He joined Motorola back in '95 here in the States. And then he joined Xiaomi as part of co-founder just a few months after the startup is founded. So the company pretty much, in the earlier days, I myself went back to Microsoft and talked to some of the really good engineers at Google, some of the Google folks, product guys. And Dr. Zhou brought with him a team of really experienced hardware design engineers. So the three sort of the engineers all come together, and plus some of the local internet company, Kingsoft engineers, and you guys know Tencent and Baidu engineers, they all came together and founded this startup. So exactly 3 years old, the name Xiaomi, MI, also stands for mobile internet. So our goal is to build a mobile internet company. And what we are doing is we want to build really, really high-spec phones, really high-performance device, and we custom make the software that runs on the phone. We rebuilt the entire phone experience on top of Android. We call that software OS MIUI. You can also call it MIUI.
So this is a layer, like a lot of other phone makers, that you guys have built a software layer on top of Android that's unique to your experience. But it's more than just a skin, right?
Yes, it's much more than just a skin. We work on the typical 10+ system apps like the dialer, the contact apps, the SMS apps, your gallery apps, weather apps, music apps. So all these are being redesigned and rewritten. And it's all running on top of Android.
So I want to get deeper into what you guys do, but I really want the audience to have an appreciation for the scale of what you guys do. Talk a little bit about how quickly you guys have grown. Talk about how many devices you sold last year, and just the way that you sell it, because it's fascinating.
Yeah. Well, the way we sell the phone is actually pretty innovative. We believe cell phone would be just like PC 20 years ago. Back then, PC, you were looking at a good 30–40% profit margin 20 years ago, and now you're seeing a single-digit profit margin if you're lucky. So we believe smartphone is going to go all the way to single-digit, if not even lower profit margins. So what we want to do is to sell directly the handsets on the web to the users. By doing that, we are able to remove 20–30% gross margin the retail channels. We are also doing marketing on the web. Mostly through Weibo, internet forums. So the whole company doesn't have any marketing budgets.
So no marketing, no sales, no retail.
Sales. Yes.
So the result is you basically, when you guys have phones in stock, you basically say, we're going to have phones in stock, and then what happens?
Before that, the way we price this phone is right at the BOM cost.
Bill of materials. So
yes,
exactly what it costs you,
right.
That's generally what you sell for.
Yes. And looking at this phone that we just, we announced the first phone August 16, 2011, and then we announced a new version on August 16, 2012, which is last year.
And this is called the Me Too. So
it's the Me Too
you're
phone.
probably the first person I've ever known to advertise a product and call it the Me Too product. In the US, that's not a good thing, but.
Yeah. Well, it's internet is a fun place. People like names that are funny. So we completely adopt that culture. And the Me Too phone, by the way, is actually the first phone in the world that used the most powerful Qualcomm chipset back last year, which is the 8064. Is a quad-core, 28 nanometer technology, quad-core 1.5 gigahertz CPU.
So you guys are selling at this point, the Mi2, your flagship phone, is basically a lot of the same hardware specs you'd find in the HTC One or the Galaxy S4.
Yeah.
But what does it sell for? And this is unsubsidized in the China market.
It's unsubsidized, yeah. So we upgrade that phone, the Mi2 phone, to Mi 2S last week in our launch party. We upgrade that to the Snapdragon 600. It's the exact same CPU that powers the Samsung Galaxy S4. That was just launched here in New York a couple of weeks ago, and also the HTC One. And we priced this phone at 1999 RMB, so it's less than 2,000 RMB. Non-subsidized, take away the VAT tax, it's about $260 US.
So by contrast, again, we're talking unsubsidized, so this is competing against phones itself for twice that. Basically.
That's right. All these other phones powered by the Snapdragon 600 CPU, all priced at 5,000 RMB. So it's way higher.
And so your model, again, when you guys have supplies in stock, you let folks know we're going to have a supply. These sell out in minutes, right?
Yes, we have, like this phone, we announced this upgrade 2S, and 8 p.m. that night, we had 200,000 handsets available on our website, and it's gone in 2 minutes. You know, people actually hop onto our websites, they make full payments, and boom, it's gone. It happens also last year when we announced the Mi2, and for a good 3-4 months, every time we had 300,000 handsets available online, they're all gone in just a matter of minutes.
So inventory problems not a big issue. You're not spending money on warehouses.
We're building warehousing. We're continuing to invest. We actually are investing money to make the sales experience better, to improve it. You know, we want to make sure that people are able to, after they make the payments, get their phone in 7 days. And we are working hard for this year to get it down to 3 days. And China is big, and you guys know, like, you know, shipping any phone to anywhere in China, to try to do it in 3 days is actually very challenging. So we are investing into improving those experiences.
And how many of these phones did you sell? How many Xiaomi phones were sold last year?
Yeah, last year for the whole year, we sold a total of 7.19 million handsets, with a revenue of 12.6 billion RMB, which is about $2 billion US. It's probably one of the fastest, if not the fastest, startups getting to a 2 billion revenues in human history. Yeah.
And what do you think for this year?
Well, we are projecting to go for 15
million phones.
15 million phones for this year. And the reason we want to do it, not to hit any KPIs. As a matter of fact, the startup doesn't have any KPIs. What we are seeing, because of the demands of this phone is so high, a lot of people are not able to get the phone. So we're actually seeing a lot of we call counterfeited Xiaomi handsets being made in some other city in China, and they're selling it at they're selling it at the same price as the Xiaomi handsets, and even worse, people who buy these counterfeited Xiaomi handsets, they don't know it's counterfeited. They don't know because there's no real. It's all available online, so there's no way they compare the real Xiaomi handsets with the counterfeited ones. So they end up buying these counterfeited handsets, and it's really bad reputation. You know, they're using much lower cost components, much lower speed CPUs, display, and all these are low quality components.
And global companies complain about this all the time, that their products get counterfeited in China and there's nothing they can do about it. Is it any easier for a Chinese company? I mean, do you have more recourse?
Frankly speaking, it's as challenging as to any other companies in the world. So what we are doing this year is to, first of all, really continue to improve the capacity of these handsets. And certainly, second thing, if you're also talking to the government to really crack down some of these counterfeit factories.
Okay, so you're selling these high-end phones at cost,
yeah,
and you're selling more of them. That doesn't sound like necessarily a path to profits. What is the business model long term? Where do you hope to make profits?
Okay, so like I said in the beginning, we believe the future of the mobile internet is really about the services that runs on the handset. Like I'll make an example of the Mi1 handset that we launched 2.5 years ago. That Mi1 handset was launched in August 16th, 2011, and we stopped selling that first version of handsets until last month. So that one model went on sale for almost 18 months. And we are hitting 7 million handsets just last year only. So by going a long cycle on one products and by going on big volumes, on one hand, we are helping our suppliers, which are all the top suppliers in the world. Qualcomm chipset, JDI and Sharp Display, Samsung memories, to really improve their yield rates and also lower their costs.
So in some cases, you're actually losing money at the beginning of a product's life cycle. But if you can keep that life cycle long enough, there's actually a time where it's profitable. The other way that I know you guys make money is accessories.
That's right.
A lot of companies sell their products and let others make the accessories.
Yep.
You guys have a pretty good accessory business. How many accessories did you guys sell last year?
We sell a lot. And imagine, we are selling everything through our own website, which is Xiaomi.com. So imagine going onto this website that has this phone available that you can buy. And with this huge number of traffic, people hopping onto the website to buy the phones, we have the accessories like this back cover. We have different colors, 7 or 8. We have the battery. If you
this shocked me. So show folks the battery.
There you go.
Colors of batteries.
So we have pink, we have purples, we have green, and you can buy like a couple of batteries and different colors. So you can remember on Monday you use a red battery, on Tuesday you use a green battery.
Now, is battery life on Android really that bad? Do we need a new one for each day of the
week? That's a very good question. Well, first of all, we are working really hard to improve the battery life. But by the way, battery innovations is actually the slowest of all the other components. As we have worked on 2 generations of smartphones. So with the 2,000 milliamp hours battery in these Xiaomi phones, it lasts for a day. If it's lucky, it lasts until like 10 a.m. in the morning. So a lot of people are, and in China especially, they're used to buying a couple of more batteries and take with them. When it runs out, they replace it. So all these accessory business would make sense only if we are able to achieve huge volumes on one particular model. And that's been working quite well for us.
And you talked about services. The other piece that you guys are trying to grow, and right now it's not a big money maker, but you're investing a lot in it, are services. So one of the things that you guys have done is taken some of the core phone functions and taken them to the cloud. What does that let you do? I mean, why do I need my text messages in the cloud?
Right. So yes, that's actually the first project of the startup when we started 3 years ago. This system called MIUI, it's Android-based. It's actually 100% compatible. It passes CTS, it passes GMS.
These are Google's tests to say whether it's compatible.
Yes. And I personally work on Android when I was at Google. So the software that we wrote on top of Android, we make it so that it's compatible, first of all. And second thing is we add a lot of new features that are aimed to make the phone experience of the software better. And on top of that, we also add a bunch of services that are really popular in China. For instance, I'll tell you an example. We have a theme market, the theme market that has over 1,000 themes, all designed by internet users. They upload to our theme markets, and then other users can download it. The themes allows you to change your lock screen, your wallpaper, your icon, and we have seen themes like transformer themes, where a user make a transformer with all these little icons, your dialer icon, your SMS icons, being a robot. And then even your lock screen is a robot, with all its arms moving and sounds playing. We also have seen the Coca-Cola themes, where you can download whole themes, and then each of the icons are just different Coke bottle. And unlocking the phone is like opening up these Coke cans.
And so some of these promotions aren't revenue generating today, but the idea is that over time they would be revenue generating.
Yes. From the internet standpoint, we saw 7 million total. And the MIUI user base today, globally, we have about 14 millions. The MIUI also works on some other handsets. HTC, Samsung, we supported a total of 36 different handsets. You can get root access, went through the step-by-step instructions and replace your HTC or Samsung handsets with MIUI. And all the services that we provide on MIUI will just work.
So I want to hear more about your business, but I also want to take a step back, because I think we hear about China, and I was just reading a study that I wrote about last week that of all the growth for telecom providers, 40% of it is going to come from China. And clearly the handset market, also huge market, and a lot of companies are really struggling to figure out how to do business. What is it that most global companies don't understand that leads them to struggle so much? And you worked at both Microsoft and Google, which I think both of them have had their own challenges in China. What is it that global companies don't understand about China?
I think I'll go back to how we believe Xiaomi did okay. So let's take the most interesting piece, the way to sell the handsets online. And Google tried to do the same thing, 3 years ago, try to sell the Nexus One. The way we sell the handsets online, the way we market this, we think of it as making things interesting and doing things on the internet and making it viral. All go word of mouth, right? So first of all, we started with telling users everything about the handsets. Now, we are not just saying, hey, this is Me Too handsets. We are telling everybody, every single component within handsets, fully transparent. They know that they're buying not just Xiaomi handsets, but also they're buying the most popular, powerful Qualcomm CPUs. They're buying the JDI and Sharp display, an LG battery, Sony sensor, 8 megapixels, 2 megapixels up front. Every single components are all transparent, opened, right? We are also getting a lot of users engaged in designing some of the software features. Like this MIUI software, we let people use our software every week, every Friday, 5 p.m. A new version of the software, are being made available online. You download that software, you play with it, you have problems with it, you have a feedback about the features, you submit your feedback, the developer would get to work on the software, and next week, a new version gets put out. So we engage a lot of users, as we develop the hardware and the software. And plus, it's being super transparent. So by the time we launch the handsets, users know exactly what they're getting. They know the goods, they know the bads, and we share with them all the goods and bads about our products, and we also share with them how we're going to make all the bad things go away and improve and make the products better. So by doing that,
sounds pretty appealing globally. I mean, I think most people who have their phones, if somebody said, here's the good and bad about the phones, and here's how we're making the bad better, and you sold it at cost, that seems to have pretty global appeal. Is this something you're looking to take beyond China?
Absolutely. We just announced this handset being available also in Taiwan and Hong Kong. I know politically, a lot of people think that's Greater China, but matter of fact, that's a very different market in smartphone than Greater China, where they are just the opposite of the 70% markets. In China, 70% markets are all non-subsidized raw phones. In Taiwan and Hong Kong, it's 70% all subsidized, almost like the.
So it's more like the U.S., where you buy a phone and it's tied to a carrier.
Right.
How well, I mean, it's a little soon to tell, but how well do you think you guys will fare when there's a subsidy and perhaps the difference in cost isn't as high between you and your competitors?
I don't know yet. It was just announced last week. We do want to try the two models, the direct model, where we would continue selling the handsets non-subsidized on the website, on our own website, to Taiwan and Hong Kong users, as well as working with the local carriers to do subsidized. We would love to get the feedbacks, how users react to the products. I think the key goal is for us to go international is to, first of all, take it step at a time. It's a young startup. It's only 3 years old. There's a lot that we haven't learned and haven't figured out. And this going Taiwan and Hong Kong market would at least try to see if we can collect more feedbacks on how users react to products like this, and also how people react to the business model of selling direct to consumers.
What about in terms of the product mix? I mean, you talked a lot about the value to you guys and to your business model of having one phone that sells for a long time. What about other product categories? I mean, obviously you're a smallish company. I don't know, how many big employees are you?
Well, people-wise, we're actually pretty big. We are hitting 2,400 today.
So not so small, but still a young company.
Yes.
Are there other product categories you guys are investing in, and what are those?
Yes. If you go on our website, we have a bunch of these other accessories. Now, one of the accessories that's worth mentioning is we just launched a Xiaomi set-top box.
So something that connects to the TV?
Yes, that connects to the TV, that plays internet content. And by the way, these are all legitimate legal copies of movies and TV show properties, and it also connects with our cell phone. So my phone, all the pictures and videos on my phone, it projects onto the set-top box and shows on the TV. And I can use my and I can use my phone as a remote control to control the set-top box. So we see products like this and extra add-on, or I would say accessories of our smartphone. So we are indeed looking at products like those, and using the smartphone as the center of the computing and have connectivity onto your smartphones.
Well, I have a few more questions, but if folks want to start getting their questions in their heads and lining up at the microphones, we'll take questions in just a second. Tablets is an interesting market because, it's a natural extension of Android. Lots of people that make phones make tablets. There's a lot of different Android tablets in the market, particularly here in the US, and not necessarily a ton being sold.
Yeah.
Is this an attractive market as a hardware company that's not in there? Is this something you think you guys would be interested in?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, tablet is actually easier to build than phone. Phone you have to think about the RF design, antenna, and all those. And tablet, other than putting on a 3G, if it's a Wi-Fi only, you don't even have that problem to worry. So, and it's much bigger. You don't have to work really hard to get your PCB board really tiny and small and get the device thin. I think the matter is whether the ecosystem for tablet, for Android tablet in particular, whether we have enough high-quality apps and games that are designed for Android tablet. I think the ecosystem, as it's getting there, and I'm sure Google is pushing that as well, we'll definitely be looking into those markets.
So you were at Microsoft and Google both in China?
Yes.
And both of those companies have invested a lot in China and had some challenges. Kai-Fu Lee was at both of those companies and kind of tried to build their operations. Yeah. What is it about those big US companies that makes what is it about them that makes China hard to crack, or what is it about China that makes it hard for a lot of US companies?
Well, Google's reason, I'm sure you guys know, it's not even about product and technology. It's mostly political reasons that Google decided to pull. And I was with Google when that happened. So I think technology and product-wise, all the multinational has a huge advantage going into the market. I think mostly it's how these multinational companies work with the government, and especially some of the particular scenarios, comes into play, and how you balance the two. So yeah, I think technology, innovation, the market is huge, and yeah, there's a lot that any companies can do.
Great. Well, we're going to take some questions. I'm sure a lot of you would like to know how to extend your business to China. So please say your name too and who you're with.
Yeah, Eric Greenman. I'm just curious. From the number of employees, 2,400. I think you said you hit this month.
Yep.
I'm assuming, obviously, that you're manufacturing as well as designing and engineering and doing all of those types of things. Did you start out as a manufacturing entity? Were you using third-party manufacturing when you first built your first phone? Or I'm just curious to see how you started out.
Yes, we actually started out with design everything in-house. So we have direct business relationship with every single one of our supplier, down to the chips level. And then we design the entire phone, so we own all the IPs. With the designer software on top. We are assembling this phone via Foxconn. So Foxconn is doing the assembly for us, but it's only assembly. All the way down to the point where we are building our own warehouse, and we are selling directly to consumers. So we are vertically integrating from the component level to the point where handset is being made, to the point where handset is being sold. This entire channel are being fully integrating within the startup, yes.
Other questions, or I'll let you guys think for one more minute. In terms of the Android market as a whole, I mean, a lot of people find Android a friendly place to build their own business on top of, whether it's folks that are doing it the official Google way, Facebook with Facebook Home, Amazon really going down to the guts level and redesigning it. Is Android, if you want to be in the business, is that the only game in town, or do you look at other things that folks are doing and think maybe we want to do Firefox OS, or we'll hear from Windows Phone tomorrow? Are there other operating systems you'd like to build phones around?
Well, the reason I pick Android, we pick Android is actually pretty simple. Android is so fully open source, so and also it's free. It's good for any OEM manufacturers to use a free OS. And we also have the luxury to make changes as long as we keep Android fully compatible. So Android is, apparently is an apparent choice to a startup like us. If other OS, are able to offer the same and also the maybe even better technology readiness, we would love to take a look. Yeah, but today we are still working on Android. Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Bin Lin.
Thanks, Ine. Yeah.